Good morning, all. In previous lecture, we have seen many examples dependent upon the Fourier transform formulae, its inverse Fourier transform formula, then Fourier sine transform, Fourier cosine transform, and their inverse formulae. So now the next formulae are for finite Fourier transform. So here these are some formulae, and then we will see the examples based on this formulae. So finite Fourier sine transform, there are only two transforms, finite transforms for sine and cosine. In previous example, Fourier transform formula is different, cosine transform formula is different, and also sine transform formula is different. But for finite transform, there is only two types, that is for sine transform and cosine transform. There are only finite transform formulae. So finite Fourier sine transform, finite Fourier cosine transform, and their inverse finite Fourier sine transform, inverse finite Fourier cosine transform. So these are the formulae. So the formulae are fs(fx), that is Fourier sine transform of fx, finite Fourier sine transform of fx. In previous example, what is the difference between finite and the previous example, previous formulae? In Fourier transform formula, the limits are minus infinity to infinity for the main Fourier transform formula, and for cosine and sine, the limits are 0 to infinity. But in finite formulae, the limits are not the infinite, that is the limits are given in limited region, that is 0 to c, where c is a some number or some constant. So 0 to c fx sin n pi x by c dx, then its inverse is take this fx on this side and fx on this side. So fx equal to, in that we have to take the one extra number, that is 2 by c summation. The inverse formula of this finite Fourier transform are given in the form of summation form. So here 2 by c summation from n is equal to 1 to infinity fs fx sin n pi x by c. Then finite Fourier cosine transform is just replace that s by c and sine trigonometric function by cosine, that is cos trigonometric function. That is fc fx equal to 0 to c fx cos n pi x by c dx. That is your formula of finite Fourier cosine transform. And its inverse formula is take this fx on this side and fc fx inside this integration. So if you remember these two formulae, then it is easy to remember the cosine transform formulae. So just replace by fs fx by fc fx and sine by cos n pi x by c. So here one term is remaining, that is 1 by c fs0. fs0 means in fs fx we have to put the x equal to 0. So here let us see, there are some examples based on the Fourier sine transform, finite Fourier sine transform and finite Fourier cosine transform. The inverse finite Fourier transform and inverse finite Fourier cosine transform formula examples are very less. So let us see the examples. Find the finite Fourier cosine transform and sine transform of the given function. Fx is given 2x and limits are given from 0 to 4. So here we have to use the sine transform and cosine transform formula. So formula we have to write fc fx equal to cosine transform formula, finite cosine transform formula. Limits are here 0 to c. So here limits are given. In example we have given the limits. So 0 to 4. So replace that 0 to c by 0 to 4. Then fx value is given, that is 2x cos n pi x by c, cos n pi x by 4, because c is here 4. 0 to c limits are in formulae. We have given 0 to 4. So comparing we get c equal to 4. Comparison of two intervals, that is c equal to 4 here. So n pi x by 4 dx. So now evaluate this integration by using regular method, that is here trigonometry by Lie sequence. Trigonometric is last and algebraic comes first. So this is your algebraic function, this is trigonometric. So this is your first function u, this is your second function v, and u derivative. If u derivative is 0 at further step, then we can use the uv rule. So here 2x is your u, then its first derivative is 2, second derivative is 0. So we get the derivative of u is equal to 0 at the second step. So you can use uv rule. So uv rule is, this is your u v1. So u as it is, v1 means cos integration. So we have to use cos x integration is sin x. But here instead of cos variable, cos x is not given. So instead of cos x, we have given the another bracket, that is we have to use cos b formally. So cos b integration is sin b upon derivative of b. So here b value is your this bracket. So sin b upon derivative of b, this is your b, and we have to take this derivative of b with respect to x. So n pi x by 4 derivative is n pi by 4, because n pi by 4 is constant into x, derivative is that constant only. So n pi by 4 x derivative is n pi by 4 minus u dash, that is 2x derivative is 2. Then v2 means it's, this is your v1, its next next integration is your value of v2. So 1 upon n pi by 4 as it is, because this is the multiplicative constant. So 1 upon n pi by 4, imagine there is a single bracket. So 1 upon n pi by 4 as it is, and we have to take the sin b formula for having sin b integration. So sin b integration is minus cos b upon derivative of b. So minus cos b n pi x by 4 upon derivative of b. N pi x by 4 derivative is again n pi by 4, and that when we take the sin integration, we get n pi by 4 in denominator, and original there is a n pi by 4. So you can see sin n pi x by 4 integration is minus cos sin n pi x by 4 upon n pi by 4 integration is 1 upon n pi by 4, right as it is multiplicative constant. Then sin b integration is minus cos b upon derivative of b, that is n pi by 4, x derivative is n pi by 4. So this n pi by 4 will give n pi by 4 bracket square. So next is u double dash v3. So u double dash means u dash next derivative. So 2 next derivative is 0. So all the further terms we will get as a 0 value. So stop here for applying uv rule and put the limits 0 to 4. So these are the values of x. So put x equal to 4 and x equal to 0. Put x equal to 4. So 2 into 4, that is 8. First simplify this term, or you can directly put these limits in this equation or in these terms. So n pi by 4 take on numerator, so it becomes 4 upon n pi. So 4 into 2, 8x upon n pi. Sin n pi x by 4, this minus plus. N pi by 4 square is n square pi square upon 16. Take on numerator, so 16 upon n square pi square. 16 into 2, that is 32 upon n square pi square cos term from 0 to 4. Now put x equal to 4 here. So 8 into 4, 32 upon n pi. Sin 4 x equal to 4 get cancelled. We get sin n pi, then 32 upon n square pi square as it is. Cos 4 get cancelled, cos n pi. And for 0, 8 into 0, that is this term is 0. Then for lower limit take minus sign, minus 32 upon n square pi square, cos 0 value is 1. So this is your simplification. Now we have to put the sin n pi value and cos n pi value. So sin n pi value, if you see these circles for sin theta and cos theta. So here for sin theta, the angles are 0, pi by 2, pi. You can see in formulae which we have written in first assignment. So 0, pi by 2, pi, 3 pi by 2, 2 pi, 5 pi by 2, 6 pi by 2 means 3 pi, 7 pi by 2, 8 pi by 2 means 2 pi. So we want n pi value, that is multiple of pi angle. These values are we want here. So here sin n pi means multiple of pi angles, and here multiple of pi angles we get on this x axis, that is here 0 angle, then 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 angle, that is even multiple of pi, and here we get pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, that is odd multiple of pi. So in total, if you take this together, we get 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, 5 pi, etc. These are the angles multiple of pi. That is, you can write as a n pi, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So on a horizontal line, that is on x-axis, we get the multiple of pi angles. So what is the value of sine for these angles on x-axis? So here sine 0 is 0. Again we have to take, this is your hint, again we have to take on the opposite side 0 here. So for multiple of pi angles, the sine value is 0. So hence sine n pi value for all the values of n is 0. So this is your conclusion, or you can remember as a formula, or you can remember these circles. You can easily get the sine n pi value and cos n pi. For cos n pi, the angles are same on the x-axis, and here cos 0 value is 1, and on another side we have to take minus 1. This is your hint. So just remember as it is. So here on the horizontal line, the values are 1 and minus 1. So for cos n pi, for sin n pi, only one value we get here, 0, 0. So in together we get sin n pi equal to, we conclude that the sin n pi equal to 0 for all the values of n. But for cos n pi, values are repeated, and these are the two in numbers, that is 1 and minus 1. And we have to consider both the values for cos n pi. If you put n equal to 0, so cos 0 is 1. If we put n equal to 1, cos pi is minus 1. If you put cos equal to 2, cos 2 pi is 1. So this is repeated in cyclic order. So cos, in general we have to take 1 and minus 1 both values for cos and pi. So how to merge these 1 and minus 1 together in one term? So you can take this as a minus 1 raised to n. So cos n pi value is minus 1 raised to n. This is your conclusion. And sin n pi is 0 always. Cos n pi is minus 1 raised to n always. So here remember these two circles or these two formulae. Write this formulae with this example. So here sin n pi is 0, cos n pi is minus 1 raised to n. Simplify this. Take 32 upon n square pi square outside, and in bracket minus 1 raised to n minus 1 is remaining. This is your finite Fourier sine transform. It is just simple, that is we have to just evaluate the integration. Remember exactly this formulae, then it is again easy examples. Then finite Fourier cosine transform. The finite Fourier, the previous is your finite Fourier cosine transform. Now let us solve the or evaluate the finite Fourier sine transform. The Fourier formula is fs fx 0 to c fx sin n pi x by c dx, and c value is Fourier. So 0 to 4 fx sin n pi x by 4 dx. Now again put the fx value, that is 2x, and use the uv rule. So here in previous, instead of cos, we just have here sine term. So in same manner use the uv rule, and if we get cos n pi, then cos n pi value is minus 1 raised to n, sin n pi value is 0. Put these values, we get the answer. So the next example is again finite Fourier sine transform, finite Fourier cosine transform. So this example write as a assignment. So then in the next example, if finite sine transform of fx is, so here finite Fourier sine transform is given. So here finite word is not given, but whatever the condition is given, from that we can guess that this is your finite Fourier sine transform example. So here 0 to pi limit is given, so hence this is your finite Fourier transform, and the transform is given, that is sine transform. So finite Fourier sine transform is given, that is fs fx is given 1 minus cos nx upon n square pi square from 0 to pi, and we have to find its inverse. To find the inverse means we have to find the value of fx. So fx value is, this is your formula, 2 by c summation from n equal to 1 to infinity fs fx sin n pi x by c. So here c value is, from this given condition we have to compare that interval 0 to pi with 0 to c. So we get c equal to pi, put here c equal to pi, and again put fs here. So we get 2 by pi 1 minus cos nx upon n square pi square sin nx. Again take this pi square outside because this summation is depend on n. So here n is your variable. You can treat as n is your variable and others are pi square is again constant. So you can take outside. So 2 by pi cube summation 1 minus cos nx upon n square sin nx. This is your inverse of this finite Fourier sine transform. So next is find Fourier cosine transform, sine transform. This you take as a assignment. Now we will see the next examples. There are no very less examples depends on the finite Fourier transform. The main and many examples depends on the first part, that is Fourier transform point. Then this is again the important point because there are many examples we have to solve for understanding the integral, Fourier integral. So the next point is Fourier integral. Then the formulae are Fourier integral formula of fx. So fx equal to this we have to remember, integration from 0 to infinity a lambda cos lambda x plus b lambda sin lambda x d lambda, where a lambda and b lambda they have the separate formulae. So a lambda equal to 1 by pi minus infinity to infinity. The main formula having limits are 0 to infinity, but for a lambda and b lambda the limits are bigger. This is your 0 to infinity and this is your the larger interval. So minus infinity to infinity limits are for their ab values. So a equal to or a lambda equal to 1 by pi minus infinity to infinity fx cos lambda x dx, and b lambda equal to, just replace in a lambda the term is cos and in b lambda the term is sin, because in main formula a is with cos term, b is with sin term. So in that hint you can remember the ab values formulae. Then Fourier cosine integral formula is, this is your main formula. Then for cosine formula and for sine integral formula, just check this formula. So for cosine integral formula, the formula is fx equal to 0 to infinity a lambda cos lambda x d lambda. That is, in cosine integral formula just eliminate this sine term, that is b lambda sin lambda x is not present. Just take only a lambda cos lambda x d lambda for cosine integral formula, and for sine integral formula fx equal to 0 to infinity just take b lambda sin lambda x d lambda, b lambda sin lambda x d lambda, and where a lambda equal to, in cosine and sine integral formula the constant is 2 by pi, in main integral formula the constant is 1 by pi. So a lambda equal to, in main integral formula, Fourier integral formula, we have to find the ab values, hence there are two formulae for a and b. But in cosine and sine integral formula, the main formula contains only a lambda, so we have to find only a lambda equal to 2 by pi 0 to infinity fx cos lambda x dx. And for sine integral just replace this cos by sine, we get the sine integral formula. So here in main integral Fourier integral formula, first limit is 0 to infinity, ab limits are minus infinity to infinity. In cosine and sine the limits are same, 0 to infinity, 0 to infinity, 0 to infinity, 0 to infinity. Just this is your difference. And in main integral formula the constant is 1 by pi for ab values, and here the constant is 2 by pi for ab values. So these are your Fourier integral formulae. Let us see the examples based on this formulae. Find the Fourier integral